We are the new green chemistry company, and so we're a little bit different from traditional biotech, which I hope will become a bit clearer as we get into the discussion. But the way you should look at us is that we are a platform chemical company, but based on a platform of green chemistry rather than traditional chemistry. And that comes about really as part of our origin story, which is as a spin out from Yale University, co-founded at the Center for Green Chemistry and Green Engineering by Professor Paul Anastas, who's quite famous in the world of chemistry for popularizing the field of green chemistry with his initial book on that subject published in 1998, so 20 odd years ago already. We see this field of green chemistry as without exaggeration, in the next $1 trillion opportunity. We don't pick that number arbitrarily. The value of the global chemical industry is around $2.7 trillion today. And the areas where green chemistry is already adding value are substantial. What's driving this is really at the basic level, demand by human beings. And I guess we look at three categories of human being which are demanding the change for more sustainable and greener chemistry. And the first category is consumers, people like us who use consumer products every day, who use shampoos and soaps and cosmetics and laundry detergents and so on and so on, and who are more aware of the impact of those products on their health and on the environment. It's also companies, which are composed of human beings, but companies like, for example, Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, Unilever, those three alone have each pledged to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions from their operations by 50% by 2030. Many other companies have made similar, very, very public commitments to improve sustainability. So that's the second category, humans. The third category of human is governments and legislatures, which to some extent play catch up in this area. But we see increasing legislation around the types of chemicals and the levels of chemicals which are able to be used in consumer products. For example, silicones have been severely restricted in the European Union. Dioxane producers have been restricted in New York State, and many, many other examples. So we seek to capitalize on that trend, and we like to talk about 3 times better consumer products, right? Better for you, for your health, better for the world, and better performance. And traditionally, green chemistry and sustainable chemistry has come with a reputation of, yeah, but it's not quite as well performing as the legacy products. And that's part of our value add, is to deliver the sustainability along with improved performance. And we do that with new chemistry. So existing chemistry is well exploited. New chemistry is really where true breakthroughs in performance and sustainability can be realized. And that's what we're doing today. We have a very strong relationship with Unilever, a part of which is in the public domain in the hair care sector. And, via working with companies like that and others, and their billions of consumers, we really can have an impact on the world and take our piece of this $1 trillion opportunity. One of the key things that folks in the chemical industry would be familiar with, but any consumer product company like a P&G would be familiar with, is how you measure impact on the environment, how you measure sustainability. And one of the key measures is the so-called carbon footprint, or the amount of carbon dioxide that the manufacture, use, and disposal of your product puts forth into the environment. And we've shown here a very simple comparison between our brand new product line, the Citropol brand new natural polymer line that we've developed, versus some very commonly used consumer product ingredients, in particular silicones, which I mentioned already. which do have a somewhat severe impact in terms of their lack of biodegradability on the environment. And this is kind of the table stakes, the currency that's talked about in the world of consumer product sustainability, the carbon impact, the carbon footprint, and how your ingredient stacks up against these things like silicones and palm derivatives and alkyl benzene sulfonate. It's extremely important when the L'Oreals and the Estee Lauders of the world try to look at their improve their raw material palette and improve their ingredient portfolio and the things they use to make the end products that they sell. But there is more, as the late night TV host says, there is more. It's not just the sustainability that we're bringing to the table, as I mentioned a little earlier. It's additional superior performance, the wow factor, as we like to call it. And I just call out a few examples here of information which is in the public domain of how we're able to bring performance improvements in big areas like hair care, skin care, and color cosmetics for things like comb out in shampoos, product performance in the antiperspirant deodorant space, and color dispersions for eye makeup, eyeshadows, eyeliners, mascaras, lipsticks, etc. And so it's not just the sustainability, not just the greenness, but with new chemistry, we're able to bring high performance, and that kind of knocks down that old trope that, yeah, you can get green, but you can't get performance in the same package. So how do we do this? In very simple terms, we take natural feedstocks abundantly available, things like forestry-derived terpenes, byproducts of the forestry industry, the pulp and paper industry, common vegetable oils like soybean and canola, and we convert those using process-intensified green chemistry. So this is not actually fermentation. We're one of the few sustainable plays that has stayed out of the fermentation area. We regard that as quite crowded at the moment, and so we bring value with what we've termed process intensification. That's doing chemical reactions via patented processes using a very small capital footprint. You visit our plant. We have a manufacturing plant in Naugatuck, Connecticut. And the first thing you'll be struck by is the absence of many, if not any, moving parts, the very low numbers of employees actually working the plant, and the small reactors. We skinny these down into very, very small units, highly efficient, a very low energy footprint, very low physical footprint. They're quite small, very, very high throughput and low processing cost. And so you'll see a couple of patent numbers noted there. We have today 17 granted patents and 45 active patent families that cover processes and products. And we also have products, ingredients in finished products around the world. Our focus is in the cosmetics area. We do have fragrance ingredients also. You'll see a very expensive men's cologne there by the Jor company in Italy. We're in hair care, skin care. As I mentioned, a very strong partnership with Unilever. Their Living Proof brand has adopted one of our ingredients as a platform for their shampoos and conditioners. And around the world, Colombia, Korea, Philippines, and so forth. So a lot of data on this next slide. Don't worry, I won't go through all of it, but just some of the sort of the key metrics. We are in the process of raising an equity round right now to support additional growth to some of the customers that you see on this slide as we start to commercialize in a very, very significant way some existing products of places like as I mentioned, Unilever and Givaudan, Takasago, IFF, Estee Lauder, and so forth. And draw your attention particularly to the little bar chart there on the top right-hand side of the slide, where we show our so-called catalog products in comparison to the custom product. So since the beginning, we've been working closely with individual customers. It really wasn't until 2 years ago in 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, I guess the depths of the pandemic, when we actually introduced a so-called catalog of products that anyone could buy. And that was the launch of our cosmetic ingredient line, the Citropol line. And so over those intervening 2 years, we've commercialized over 20 products now, which we sell again mainly into the cosmetics and personal care area. So quite a lot of commercial traction. As I said, we are in the middle of a raise, which I guess I could tell you a little bit about at the end to support that commercial growth. So in the way of summary, just basically retelling what I just told you, we're in the middle of a tidal wave of change. A lot of people demanding sustainability, and companies and countries and legislatures are following that demand. We're delivering improved sustainability and products that are better performing. We do that based on patented technology. Check out our patent portfolio. We have strong partnerships with blue chip customers, names you'd recognize like Unilever. Chanel, by the way, is an investor in P2 as well as a customer. BASF's an investor in P2. Archer Daniels Midlands are very strong partners. A bunch of material in the public domain out there about what we're doing with them. And as I said, we're in the middle of an equity raise. I guess that's going quite well. I'm not sure I would say we're in the middle, but it's still open. We have an investment bank running the process for us. We have a lead investor. Of course, our current investors are going to remain engaged in the company, and the purpose of this raise is really to take us through to $100 million in sales and beyond, and maybe an attractive exit at that in that sort of 5-year time frame. I've got a few other slides. Not sure I want to spend a lot of time on them. A little bit on the management team, which is mainly chemical people. Our finance guy is not a chemical guy, and our marketing person is not. That's okay. We need a bit of diversity. The rest of us are all chemists and chemical engineers. And I guess if I've got a few more seconds, I'd like to highlight our advisory board. The top line, we've engaged some thought leaders in the fields of science, in cosmetic science, in catalysis, and artificial intelligence. And there's some exciting work we're doing, combining those 3 fields, directed towards the discovery and development of synthetic routes to new sustainable chemicals. And so that's kind of the long-term fuel, if you like, for the research engine that we continue to run there. I hope that's good enough in the time allotted, and happy to answer questions and make the slides available to folks to take a look at later.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Neil. I really appreciate it. And, feel free to jump in and ask questions if you'd like. But I wanted to jump in and ask you a question right off the bat, Neil, which is what's impressive about you is you not only have created in this case, a chemical process that allows you to create innovative products cheaply. You have a manufacturing plant you just mentioned that you've built and scaled up. And I think you're some of the few companies in this overall space that has gotten to the point where now it's the scale that goes, figure out how to scale up to those ambitions that you talked about in those previous slides.
Yeah.
What does it take to get to that scale? Does this mean that you just need more capacity? Does this mean that you have to build a bigger product portfolio? Does Unilever need to just put in much bigger orders? Yeah. Because I feel like there's a handful of companies that almost might get up to this phase of a viable product. We can manufacture it, but to really scale up, for you guys, what does that next step look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. So right now, the capacity we have there is set, depending on the product mix, a few hundred tons per year, which is fine. It's keeping a lot of indie brands going with product, but that type of scale, that type of capacity really is just the first step on the road to being a meaningful supplier to a Unilever or a P&G. So what we need right now is really just capacity for existing products. I mean, we have the products. We've got a product line of 20 plus products. We have customers. So we're not seeking more products. We're not seeking more customers. We're not seeking more technology either. It's merely a question of expanding the production capacity that we have using the current technology, and that expanded capacity is going to serve companies that we're already engaged with. In many respects, a lot of the hard work's been done, establishing the credibility, the technology, and getting folks to look at and work with and buy small quantities. That's all behind us. And so now the question is just to execute and expand what we have, and not minimizing that. That's a big challenge, but it's a very different type of challenge to what we've been involved with for the past several years.
Fantastic.